with Faraz Shaukutali.
And a wonderful morning. This is Newsline, live as usual from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. However, it's a terribly wet day again. More reminiscent of some European capital that I know of. But nevertheless, we have here in our studio, right on time, Mr. Maitri Gunaratne, the attorney at law and several other things, but also probably better known these days as the person who was heading the Lanka coal company amidst all that controversy about the purchase of coal. To discuss many things this morning is Mr. Maitri Gunaratne. Very good morning to you, Mr. Gunaratne.
Morning, Faraz. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for coming. What's all this business? We have Mr. Joseph Michael Pereira, who's not a very happy cookie. You know, his seniority, his position in the electorate and so on, seems to have been usurped by Mr. Ravi Karunanaika and/or young Kavinda. Is it right that what Mr. Pereira did? What's your take on this?
For us, normally when you are an organizer of an electorate,
yeah,
and if there is a political meeting which is being held in that electorate, the organizer has to be included.
Yeah.
And I mean, if there are speeches given, he will make maybe the first speech or the last speech, depending on the occasion.
Right.
This is not unusual in the UNP, where they ill-treat their senior party members.
Right.
If you take, for instance, now Mr. Joseph Michael Pereira, I think, has been in the UNP for the last maybe 40 to 50 years.
Yeah.
He's a very, very senior member.
Yeah.
I would say he would be even more senior than the present Prime Minister.
Yeah.
So this is the normal way. Now if you take Mr. Sarath Tamanugama, also a senior member who was in the UNP,
yeah,
they have left the UNP.
Yeah.
Then you take Mr. Gamini Lokugi,
yeah,
now, he is very senior, stalwart UNPS, they have left the UNP.
Yeah.
So this is all because of the ill treatment which has been meted out,
right,
against them from time to time under this.
So when these people left the United National Party, is it a form of sort of constructive resignation?
Definitely. No one has left because of any kind of disagreement
or ideological
shift. They have left because of ill treatment.
Right. Where they just feel that they're not being.
When a senior person like Mr. Joseph Michael Pereira is treated in this manner,
yeah,
what do you expect? Now, for instance, now Mr. Ravi Karunanaika, he is under a terribly dark cloud,
yeah,
especially with regard to this bond scam.
Yeah.
He has brought shame to this Yahapalana government.
Yeah.
The Yahapalana government, other than for Mr. Lalit Viratunga and Anusha Pelpita,
yeah,
have not been able to send anyone behind bars.
Yeah.
But within these 2 years, one of the first casualties was a member of the Yahapalana government, that is Mr. Ravi Karunanaika, before the bond scam.
Mm.
Now he having accepted this fault, he resigns.
Yeah.
Having resigned, he now is playing a major role in reorganizing or doing whatever in the UNP.
Yeah.
So what is the message the UNP is trying to send to the public? Is it a message of confidence?
Yeah.
Is it a message that, people who have been found fault with, are they being promoted in a roundabout manner?
Yeah.
So this is why for us the UNP from 1994 onwards has had a terrible performance at electoral level. This kind of inconsistent conduct has brought about the UNP's downfall.
Now, have you left the UNP? Or?
No, I was sacked from the UNP.
Oh, you were sacked?
Yes.
Did you challenge it in court?
Yeah, we challenged it in court.
And?
And I was sacked when I was a member of the provincial council.
Right.
And then we filed the case, and then the provincial council's term ended in 2015.
Right.
So thereafter, the case only became academic.
Right.
And the suspension stood because the working committee takes the decision. The party leader appoints the working committee, the working committee appoints the party leader, so there is no democracy there again. And nothing which is against the leader's wishes will ever happen in the party. So there is no chance that we can get back until Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe is there.
I just want to, there's a question here asking for your designation. It's Maitri Gunaratne, attorney at law. That's the designation. And if you want to send us your questions by SMS right here, it's 0772 300 305. Send us your questions, and there'll be a card coming up shortly on your screen. 0772 300 305. Please don't call it, just send an SMS. Thank you. So basically you were sacked and that's it, so the suspension stands. Can you tell me this, apart from the fact that you remember the party and also because you're a lawyer, what is the technical way that the leader of the United National Party gets changed? Is there
is no way you can. He has to either, only person who can take him away is Barney Raymonds, that's all.
Only Barney Raymonds?
Only Barney Raymonds, no one else. Barney Raymonds, Jayaratne or A.F. Raymonds can take him. Otherwise, the constitution was amended in 2012-2013, where there is a election and all that.
Right.
So that was a result of our agitation within the party.
Right.
Then what he did was, after he got rid of us, he again changed the constitution, and now he's leader forever.
So this is like his personal property?
Yeah, it is his personal property. There is no doubt about it. Right. The UNP has become his personal property, and it is going from bad to worse by the day.
Now, today's Island newspaper reports on Imran Khan's failure to declare his property in the United Kingdom. As we all know, Imran Khan got married to Jemima Goldsmith.
Yes.
And he maintains that this flat in London was paid for with earnings that Mr. Khan had in the United Kingdom and anywhere but Pakistan.
Yeah.
And therefore he didn't declare that, and so he has a kind of a rationale. But whether it's accepted by the Supreme Court in Pakistan, that's a different thing. But they have also asked him to prove that he's paid Jemima her money back, if that is just to sort of prove what he says. But it's interesting because here we have, he's the leader of a political party in Pakistan, and somebody's gone to the Supreme Court, and so there's a matter pending for failure to declare that. Now, over here, we had Ravi Karunaka give evidence before the commission, and it's a fact-finding commission, we know that. But in my layman's mind, I would imagine that the bribery commission at least should have initiated some form of inquiry. Why doesn't that happen automatically? Why does somebody have to push the buttons?
For us, now I have made a complaint to the bribery commission, or forgive me, the bribery commission called me and recorded a statement with regard to the coal tender.
Right.
I have made the statement.
Right.
Then thereafter, I had to make a statement to the CID with regard to the coal tender, and the CID also referred that was to the bribery commission.
Right.
But unfortunately, it seems to take ages for the bribery commission to act.
Yeah.
That is a very, very sad indictment on the bribery commission.
Yeah.
In fact, I spoke to the Director General of the Bribery Commission also, and I said there is a complaint like this because these are matters of state which have, where corrupt officials. Supreme Court has decided that this tender was bad, and there is nothing much for them to probe into.
Yeah.
You take the Supreme Court judgment; it will give you where the things have gone wrong.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for us, I mean, our systems are still not geared to take on something like this and take it forward. I mean, in Pakistan, I feel it is happening, and that's why Mr. Imran Khan will have to go before the Supreme Court. But notwithstanding that, if you are having any asset out of the country, when you are making an asset declaration, you have to declare that, whether you like it or not, or whether the money was made elsewhere, you have to declare the asset.
Yes, it's a bit like filling these forms to get visas, isn't it? I know that, say, the US visa, it asks you whether you have any convictions and so on. Now, it doesn't say, have you got any convictions in Timbuktu or wherever? It's convictions.
Convictions.
Full stop.
Full stop.
So it's like you.
Have you got any properties abroad? Have you got any assets abroad? So when assets in other part of the world, I mean, you have to declare.
Yeah, when they ask you for your asset declaration, it means everywhere.
Everywhere. There is no doubt about the question.
So in the case of Ravi Karu, what about this matter of this money? The chief financial officer of that company that is controlled or run or associated with, because they've got all sorts of legal jargon of hiding these things, right? That company, the chief financial officer says that this money that was dumped, the word used was dumped in the safe, in the chairman's safe, was used, didn't appear in any of the company's books.
Yeah.
So money is essentially black money, right? So where is the Commissioner of Taxes, the Inland Revenue? What are they doing? This money, we are then told that this money was placed on deposit in a bank account and so on, and it was used to pay 9 lots of repayments on this apartment and so on. So to me, it sounds that it appears that there's a classic case. It's black and white. Everything's there, and yet there's no action.
Definitely. That's the disappointing factor in this whole administration.
Perhaps the investigators are a little bit put off because we're told, I don't know if the accuracy of it, we'll have to check, but we're told that RK now has an office, he's working out of Temple Trees.
Yeah,
so generally speaking, you won't find a little investigation man
going into Temple Trees.
Going into Temple Trees. To get in there alone will be daunting.
Task.
Right, so is this cloak of respectability that the leader of the UNP is offering these people?
I don't think there is any cloak of respectability in the UNP or in its conduct. I mean, if Mr. Ravi Karunayaka is working at Temple Trees, then there is nothing more for anyone to say as to who is looking after him and who is fostering him. Right, so this kind of attitude and behavior is the one which has brought so much of disrepute to this government.
Indeed. Viewer says, who were the corrupt people behind the coal deal? Is Mr. Gunaratne afraid to name them?
No, I have not.
Has he given the names to the CID?
Yes. The main culprit in the coal deal was none other than the Secretary to the Ministry, Batagoda. That is the main culprit. Then the whole tender board which sat, I am made to understand 2 or 3 of them have resigned. So I have given his name. I have more than maybe 3 or 4 times in live TV programs. I have come and exposed his name. I think Faraz will be witness to it. So I have not been hiding anyone's name, and I don't need to do that. I have done it very openly. But unfortunately, no action has been taken, and even now, if you take there was another tender which had come up. I think it's the gas tender.
Gas.
Even that tender, there is another huge problem within the Ministry of Power and Energy. So until Batagoda is removed, corruption will continue in a large scale. The Ministry of Power and Energy.
Well, who's protecting Mr. Batagoda then?
That is the question. for us. I can't understand who is protecting him. I mean, to take you back to the coal tender, I exposed that they were buying the coal at $15 more than the market price. They bought 1 million tons of coal at $15 more than the market price. We were buying it at $15 less.
So that's $15 million there alone.
$50 million there alone. So this is the magnitude of the corruption which took place with the know-how of Batakoda, and none other than the Supreme Court. In its judgment, the Supreme Court said that it has shocked the conscience of the Supreme Court in the manner in which public officials are acting. So what more than that, when the highest court of this land has made a pronouncement of that nature, and it also further says that they have misled the cabinet. They have misled the cabinet. So what? And every section of the procurement guideline has been violated. This is the judgment. So unfortunately, it's almost a year after the judgment was pronounced, and nothing has happened.
So where is the good governance going?
I think they've gone out of the window.
Out of the window. Now then, what about this matter about the Provincial Council's Amendment Act, and of course separately the Supreme Court ruling on the 20th Amendment? Now, we must acknowledge one thing, which is we seem to have a lot of opinion saying that the moves to increase or to get it going, the participation of women, local government is very good. It's been met with a lot of acclaim. But that's on the one side. But equally, there's another group of people saying, oh yeah, but they're using that to delay elections. And then the Supreme Court says you can't delay elections.
Yep.
So where does it all fit?
No. For us, the Supreme Court in its decision has very clearly stated that you cannot delay the franchise of the people. If they have to vote after 5 years, you cannot delay that process. You can bring it forward and hold an election, because then the people get the opportunity to vote.
Right.
And if they are going to make any changes with regard to the dates, the Supreme Court has very clearly said you have to, one, get that 2/3 majority in Parliament. Two, you have to go before the people for a referendum. So unless by getting a 2/3 majority and going in for a referendum, you cannot delay election.
Right.
So what you cannot do directly, you cannot do indirectly.
Yes.
So what the 20th Amendment and this women representation has done or is attempting to do is they are trying to do indirectly what they can't do directly. They try to postpone the election by a simple amendment to the Constitution that failed. Now, since it failed, they have brought in another amendment saying that they are going to have women candidates to contest, and they are delaying the process.
Right.
Now, for us, this they should have envisaged long time ago. The provincial council elections were coming into dissolution by end of this month. So they could have envisaged it and then catered for that situation. But this is a clear mandate where the Supreme Court decision is also being violated, and this has been brought in as an urgent bill.
But that's not. Isn't that disallowed under the 19th?
That is disallowed under the 19th Amendment. So now the 19th Amendment was brought by this government for good governance. In the 19th Amendment, there is a provision where urgent bills are not going to be tolerated. They bring in the urgent bill. So there is no good governance at all. People cannot challenge it. Otherwise, what I'm saying is, if it was challenged, it would have been thrown out of the window. In the light of this, my considered opinion is that the Commissioner of Elections or the Chairman of the Commission of Election Commission cannot. He has to hold the election. He has to go forward and hold the election, because the Supreme Court decision is very, very clear. Then, if the government wants, the government can go to the Supreme Court and say, get him to stop holding the election. Then the Supreme Court will have to decide whether there is a valid ground for them to stop holding the election.
Yeah.
My considered view, my view is that the election commissioner cannot come and say, no, he has no power, he has no this. The Supreme Court in its judgment is very clear with regard to franchise, and that is with the people.
But they didn't pass. They weren't asked any questions.
No question.
About
so he's
about
not even a party.
Council.
Yeah, he's not even a party into that.
Yeah.
So my opinion is that the Commission of Elections should call for elections as prescribed by law, and set the date. And if anyone is interested in stopping it, they can go to court and get it stopped.
Right.
Because for us, one thing is this.
Yeah.
I am 100% for changing this electoral system.
Yes.
First past the post system, yes.
Right.
It is needed, and that will change the complexion of the candidates who will come into parliament, who will come into the provincial council, who will come into the municipal councils. That is actually one of the best things that President Maithripala Sirisena has promised to this country, and he is going to implement it. That is one of the best things which can happen.
Yeah.
But you cannot do anything illegally.
Right.
There is a process.
Yeah.
You have to follow the process.
Whether we like it or not.
There is a process.
Yeah.
Because it is good, you can't just take something and just put this in. It doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good, and that's exactly what Lakshman Kiriyala did with the Central Expressway. Whilst the bidding process was ongoing, he then introduces another cabinet paper asking the cabinet to agree to cancel the ongoing bidding process and to get the CANC to evaluate the company that they later found was to be disqualified and rejected. And anyway, the first company are not smelling out roses either, because they didn't come with the bid bond. And then instead of cancelling, now you have the experience of this, so you call for a tender, the three bidders fail for whatever reasons. Well, two of them don't respond, the other one's forgotten his bid bond. So then what do? Do you cancel it and then bring in another, recall a tender?
You recall a tender, that's simple as that.
Yes, but they didn't recall a tender here. They just went, automatically they went to a round two. And in round two, we had the same companies, remember, two companies who didn't really have the qualifications and didn't bid in this round one. And this illegal round two, lo and behold, the company that forgot the bid bond has now remembered the bid bond. But magically, a fourth company is entered the fray. We want to know how.
For us, there is absolutely no provisions in the procurement guidelines to do this kind of illegal activity.
And you, Chairman Lanka, call. Is there any provision for a cabinet minister to negotiate or have meetings and discussions about the bidded process with
Absolutely
bidders?
none. Absolutely none. He has got nothing to do with the bidding process. It has been designed in such a way, it has been compartmentalized into three different sections.
Yes.
Right? It has been so one does not have a connection with the other.
Right.
To maintain transparency.
Yeah.
So if the minister is getting into the fray and trying to push this forward, that itself is a totally illegal practice which is against the procurement guidelines and against transparency and against good governance.
We've played a letter, we put it out on our screens, in which the minister has written to the two bidders and is asking them to hurry up, in effect to hurry up and form the consortium so that they can award the contract. He's got no right.
He has no right to do that for us. He has no right to do that. If he's doing it because he's corrupt.
So it's as simple as that.
Simple as that. He has no right to do it.
There's no point beating around the bush.
No, it's just corruption. Absolute corruption.
We've got few minutes there, 5 minutes. Sunil Handuneti says, lying before court can lead to prosecution in courts. Is that right?
Yes. If you lie before court, court is a parliamentary body.
Yeah.
It's a parliamentary tribunal, basically.
Yeah.
And Parliament is very powerful. Parliament has delegated its powers to the judiciary. Yeah. So Parliament is one of the strongest bodies. So if you get caught lying to court, you can be prosecuted. In the same way, if you get caught to the COPE, which is a parliamentary body going into all these issues, you can be prosecuted.
So there are several avenues left. The other thing I want to say is this. Now with the bond matter, bond gate, yes, now we have a presidential commission and so on. But the money is still out there. And no steps have been taken, there have been no arrests made, or no travel restrictions placed on these people, and they continue to invest these monies that have been questionably obtained, subject to legal orders on that. But in the meantime, they've still got the money. The same thing will happen if they go ahead and give this Central Expressway Section 3 contract. Yeah. Because the loan there, we've looked at the loan, the instructions from the cabinet to go ahead and get the loan from a commercial bank, right? It's signed off by none other than Ranil Wickremesinghe. There is an insurance payment there which has to be paid up front, 10.07%. This is in peacetime, 8 years after the end of the war. And under the Rajapaksa administration,
it was 6%.
It was 6%.
Yeah.
So, that's about 16 billion rupees there.
Yeah.
Just for that.
Is it rupees or dollars?
It's dollars. $107 million is the advance insurance premium. Right? So you calculate that at 153, you get around 16 billion rupees.
Yeah.
Everything has gone beyond hundreds of thousands and millions.
No, it's billions.
It's now billions.
The fraud which is taking place is 5 billion, 10 billion, 15 billion. It's like that. It's millions of no use. It's like small change now.
Do parties need so much of money?
For what?
Political parties.
For what?
Well, to print those things, to pay, to carry suitcases and give to somebody else. Go and join us. We'll give you this.
Maybe for that. But I have been a candidate in one of the major political parties. When we get maybe 50,000 rupees, 100,000 rupees for during election maximum.
From the party?
From the party.
So what happens to the balance?
No one knows. That's why they have to be accountable. The parties have to, secretaries of the parties have to be accountable with regard to where they get the money and what they spend it for.
What do you think? Do you think that we will have elections of any sort? Faisal Mustafa told us on this program a couple of days ago that in January 2018 and then again in March 2018 we'll have.
We won't have elections.
And they'll just drag this matter on. What about the international community? Why are they silent?
That, of course, you'll have to ask them why they are silent.
But they are silent, aren't they?
For instance,
I'm not missing something.
You take the local government elections.
Yeah.
From 2013 to date, they are putting various technicalities and delaying it. Now first it was 2017 December.
Yeah.
Now it has gone to 2018 January.
Yeah.
But still, I'm told that there are amendments needed to go ahead with this. So that election is going to be delayed. The provincial council election, now they are talking of delimitation and various other things to take it back to the old system.
Yeah.
Right. Now that is also going to take another long time. So you will not have any elections, local government or provincial council, until maybe the last in 2020. From the looks of it, that's how it's going. It's a sad story.
Perhaps I should be writing down what you say, because I wrote down what Mr. Mustafa said.
Yeah, I will tell Mr. Mustafa, no, there is no issue, that there won't be elections. Because none of them are keen in having elections.
Nobody?
Nobody.
None of the faction. So the people basically stuck.
Yeah. No, at least...
And coconuts are trading at around
80 rupees.
80 to 100 rupees.
No, at least, in fairness to the Rajapaksas, they tampered with the process by breaking it into pieces, and the whole country was having elections every 6 months because of what they were doing. But they had elections, they tested their popularity. Right? What this government is trying to do is good. Have it on one day. All that is good for us, but there is a procedure to follow. We are a government which has promised good governance.
That is precisely what we were saying about the roads.
Yeah.
Because Kiriella goes and tells the Mahanayakas that there are people trying to block this project. There's no such thing.
No.
Why didn't you tell the truth to the Mahanayakas?
No.
We are saying that the procedure has been breached.
That's precisely. So when the procedure is breached, the other tenderers have the opportunity to go to the appeal board. Procurement appeal board. So then again it is delayed. Because for us, if you follow the procedure, no tenderer will go before the procurement appeal board if there is no transgression of the law. Right? It is very, very clear that all these tenders, they are trying to fix them. So when you try to fix a tender, and when people, and mind you, for us to tender for one of these big projects, you have to spend a hell of a lot of money. Preparation of the documents, that costs a hell of a lot of money. So international players come in here, they come and spend a lot of money to participate in these tenders. Having done that, they find that this has been stage managed, this has been tampered with. So they go with a bitter experience of Sri Lanka. And then what happens is, in the long run, you don't get international players coming, because what they say is it's a very close community. They say, don't go to Sri Lanka, you cannot get a tender because it's all corrupt. So then where is the competition we are going to get? Where is the transparency?
Sri Lanka, land of the corrupt. Terrible tagline. But we come to the end and a bit more. Manchi Gunata, thank you very much for being on Newsline. And that's about it from Newsline. That's the way it was here on Wednesday, the 27th of September. Take care and God bless.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.